The debate over reintroducing grizzly bears in Washington state is growing more divisive by the day.
Over in Darrington, lines are now being drawn. Fox 13's Lauren Donovan met with local leaders who say returning the apex predators to the North Cascades would be a dangerous mistake.
At the end of the day, it's the federal government's decision, but folks here in Darrington, they don't want to take it lying down. At a recent public comment meeting, 200 locals showed up to voice their opposition to the reintroduction of the grizzlies, saying, hey, feds, we're the ones who have to deal with the bears.
Well, the number one thing I think is the danger. I mean, we're going to live right here where the bears are eventually going to be.
As Kevin Ash just pointed out, the feds want to reintroduce grizzly bears to the North Cascades. Smack dab within that 9,800 square miles sits Darrington. Locals argue historically,
the bears were never here in any significant numbers on this side of the Cascades.
Kevin is among the leaders of a grassroots movement here in town to keep the humpback predators at bay. Even Mayor Darrington is backing it. He says the ecosystem is just not ready.
When we bring back the salmon, that's the time that we can look at those other building blocks of that ecosystem that make sense.
Members of the community complain livestock and game like elk and deer could suffer too.
The biggest fear is your kids or somebody in your family gets mauled or, God forbid, killed by a grizzly.
Kevin says recent headlines have left him unsettled. Not that long ago, a grizzly bear in Banff killed 2 experienced hikers and their dog.
They're the apex predator. They fear nothing.
Wildlife biologist Jason Knight acknowledged bringing back large carnivores into any ecosystem is a controversial move. But overall, he sees it as a net positive.
There's enough habitat up there in the North Cascades, but I think it's also going to draw a lot more people into the North Cascades too. When you think about how many folks go to Alaska specifically to go see grizzly bears.
Jason pointed out salmon isn't their prime target. Grizzlies are more interested in berries and roots. He also says they've got a low reproduction rate. So let's say 25 are reintroduced. It could take at least a century for that population to hit 100 or 200.
It takes years before they can breed and reproduce. And then when they have cubs, like they usually perish. Like the survival rate of cubs is very, very low.
Local reporting shows north of us in New Halem, right inside North Cascades National Park, there appears to be split reaction to this decision. If you want to give your 2 cents on the matter, you've got until next Monday, the 13th, to do so. After that, public comment is over and done. Reporting in Darrington, Lauren Donovan, Fox 13 News.